Many of us are spending more time in virtual meetings, gatherings, or presentations. Anytime I see a slide like this go up, I watch audience interest level go down. I watch people as they squint at the camera, maybe they check their email, worse still, maybe they leave the call entirely. Slides need to be simple yet meaningful for in person presentations, but especially in a virtual world. Most presenters realize this, but they're just not sure of a better way to go about designing their slides. My name is Christine Haas, and I'm your slide guide. I'm going to talk to you about how we ended up creating such bad slides, why it's a problem for our audience, and offer you a solution. We use a number of different programs to create slides. We might use Google Slides, Keynote, PowerPoint, but we use these programs not just to create slides for presenting, but for other purposes. For example, we might use one of these programs to create a document. These are slides that are really designed for our audience to sit and read them quietly to themselves. You might also call them reading slides. And these reading slides have a different purpose than slides that are presented to us where we are listening to the presenter share information, or you might call those listening slides. I mean, even just looking at these two pictures on the screen, you probably notice a difference. The slides that are reading slides have more words, and of course they do. They were designed to be read. We confuse these two purposes when we're designing slides all the time. We've let reading slides influence how we're designing listening slides. The reason this is a problem is because it causes something in our audience called cognitive overload. We have a single verbal processing center in our brains that handles spoken and written words. This means we can listen to the presenter or we can read the slide, but we cannot do both things at once. Trying to do both at once causes cognitive overload. It's like a traffic jam in our brains. You've experienced this before. If I bring up this word-filled slide, I'm guessing you either start reading or tune me out. The good news is that visuals are processed on an entirely different center in our brain. So when we use visuals in our slides, it's like we're opening up an extra lane in the traffic jam. Visuals allow us to learn more deeply. These are cognitive science principles researched by John Sweller and Richard Mayer. You've experienced this visual principle as well. If I bring up this picture of a Nintendo Wii U, a handheld gaming device, and I tell you that Nintendo used a cardboard prototype as part of its invention process, you're able to process that information as well as listen to me. So you may say, I can buy that we shouldn't build these word-filled slides, but why don't we just use highly visual slides? And we can. There are examples of talks that look like this. TED Talks, for example, are highly visual. But the problem is if we don't spend a lot of time preparing our content, even those highly visual talks can remain just as unfocused as the slides with lots of words. So let me introduce you to a style of slide design that combines the best of both worlds. It has meaningful words and great visuals. The style is called message visual, and it's also known as assertion evidence. The process of designing these slides helps us focus our content, and that actually helps us achieve connection with an audience. So let me make this example a little bit bigger for you. And in this example by Carly Loft, she talks about how prototyping was an essential step in the innovation process for Nintendo. By creating this cardboard prototype, it allowed them to determine on the front of the device where the buttons should be placed for the maximum gaming experience, as well as in the back of the device, how to make it ergonomically comfortable for people to hold. You can see that our content here is quite focused. And one of the mechanisms that makes it so focused is the process of actually writing that message at the top of the slide. Each message is a complete sentence that's the most important takeaway from the slide. It's like an elevator pitch or the executive summary of the slide. And we build each slide around these messages because writing the message helps us determine how best to support it visually. Here we have photographs, but you could have data, diagrams, a screenshot. You could use a video. You could show some sort of process. But regardless of what you use, having that visual gives the presenter a more powerful role. It allows them to have something to explain rather than just reading bullet points to an audience. This message visual concept is easy to understand, but like most simple concepts, it takes time to master. If you work with me either in a one-on-one session or a workshop, we will talk about how to apply this concept to your own content. We'll make sure that your slides are easy to understand by your audience, but also increase your confidence when you present. I hope to see you soon.